Hello booktube, hello book friends, welcome back to my channel and a reading week catch up video for the first week of Private Eye July. So what I've been reading and so on this week, and I also want to do a few channel updates just to mention a couple of things and sort of talk about forward plans. So we'll do that after I've talked about the books. So what have I been reading and listening to this week? Because I've got a couple of audio books in the roster this week as well. I think I mentioned last week a book by Walter Mosley that I was listening to as an audio book called Blood Grove. This was a loan from the local library, or the audiobook bit of it, so an e-loan, and because they I think they give you 2 weeks for audiobooks, and then you have to return them unless somebody else hasn't reserved it, you can renew the loan. So there's always a bit of a tension with, particularly if it's quite a long audiobook, with getting it listened to before you have to sort of give it back. So I started it before the 1st of July for that reason. That's the only reason. And I did finish it this week, and it was a cracking story. Walter Mosley's written, I think, sort of 18-20 books with this is Rawlins, who is or Ezekiel Rawlins, who is the private eye, the private investigator protagonist, and this is one of the later books in the series. And by this time, he has he's relatively well off, relatively well established as a private investigator and so on. He's got his own private investigator agency and people who work for him and with him, rather than sort of in the earlier books. I think, because I don't really know the earlier books, and I'm going to go back and read some of the earlier books, because I kind of picked the series up midway through, and have read so I haven't read the most recent ones, and I haven't read the oldest ones. So I've kind of read like a sample in the middle, and this is the most recent one I've read, although it's 3 or 4 years old, I think. So I want to go back and read the earlier ones. I have a perfect excuse to do that at the moment, so we shall see what comes of that. Now, in this one, Rawlins is approached by a Vietnam veteran. So these are all set in I think the early ones are set in the sort of 50s, and this is now kind of late 60s, I think it is. So he's approached by a Vietnam veteran who has what we would now call PTSD, but back then was kind of shell shock or combat stress, or whatever you want to call it. But it's now what we would call PTSD. And one of the ways he copes with his PTSD is he will go out at night and sleep under the stars, and it's basically, he doesn't like being in a confined space. And when he's out one night, he hears and sees something that leads him to believe that someone has been killed, and he wants to hire Rawlins to investigate that, which he duly does. And of course, it's not quite as straightforward as somebody has been killed. There are complications. It's called Blood Grove because the killing, or perceived killing, takes place in a blood orange orchard. Is that the right word? Yeah, an orange orchard, but with blood orange trees, in California. And so that's where the title comes from. And it was brilliant. Really enjoyed listening to it. I kind of was doing like an hour or two a day when I was sort of, if I was walking the dogs or I was out walking, just generally. And I got through it quite quickly. And it was tempting to kind of keep coming back to it. And towards the end, I was kind of listening to it all the time. So, when I was cooking dinner or whatever, I'd have a earbuds in and be listening to it. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Thoroughly recommend it. You don't need to have read any of the earlier books. There will be mentions to things, but he kind of covers that. I mean, I think, if you really wanted to get the full kind of experience, you probably should start with, what's the first book? Devil in a Blue Dress. And I'm going to go back and do that. I'm going to start from the beginning and kind of fill in the gaps over however long it takes. I'm not going to rush to do it, but certainly going to try and read one more, at least one more Easy Rawlins book this month as part of Private Eye in July. And now I am listening to Raymond, Chandler and The Long Goodbye, which I don't know how far I'm, about halfway, I would guess. And I'm enjoying that. I'm not enjoying the recording because they obviously, I don't know much about how audiobooks are made, but somebody obviously reads the book in front of a microphone, and then, it's all edited together and so on. And I think sometimes when there are issues with, the reader, or the narrator rather, stumbles or mispronounces something, or maybe even misses a paragraph or something like that, they then go back and do what I think are called pickups, where they read the bit and then it's all edited together. The problem with this is the pickups are really obvious because the levels on the recording are different, so suddenly the volume increases even though you haven't touched the volume on your headphones. And he also reads, he's obviously, when he was reading it originally, was obviously doing some accents and things for the different characters. And I think it must have been quite a while afterwards that he did the pickups and he wasn't doing the accents. So it's really kind of odd at times. And there's quite a few of them. So I'm not kind of enjoying the recordings a bit. It's spoilt for that reason. Its story is fantastic. And when the narrator is in character, for want of a better term, he is really good as well. I can't remember who it is now. I have to look that up. So yeah, that's my current audiobook, again from the library. So I'm kind of trying to do the same thing, and I think I've had it a week, and so I've got another week. I should finish it. Well, I will, because I'll kind of, if I think I'm going to run out of time, I'll either try and renew it before I finish it, because you can do that. And like a library book, you don't have to wait till the day it's due to renew it. You can renew it a few days before. So I might renew it to give myself a bit more time. And then I think I've got a Kate Atkinson, Jackson Brodie reserved. So that will be the next one, which when I get to it, I'll talk about. So those were the two audiobooks. What's to say, when I finished one I'm currently listening to. And then I have read a couple of novels as well. So it's been a really good Private Eye July week this week. I haven't read anything else. Apart from for Poetry Thursday, for the War Poets that I'm doing, I did go back and reread before I did the recording. So so I read Robert B. Parker's Spare Change. This is a Sonny Randall mystery, private investigator mystery, and it was the last one that Parker himself wrote. So there have been more published since he passed away by other authors, and I haven't read any of those, and I don't intend to. I just don't want to read. I only want to really read the ones that he wrote. So yeah, this was the last one he wrote, and Sonny Randall is a private investigator, obviously, and she is being called in to help her dad, who is a former Boston detective investigate the kind of reappearance of the spare change killer. So the spare change killer is a serial killer who basically shoots people in the back of the head, or and leaves some, like dimes and cents coins next to the body, so spare change. And her father originally investigated the spare change killer kind of, like 20, 30 years ago, and he just stopped, and they never caught whoever it was. And then all of a sudden the killings have started again. He, although he's retired, has come back to consult on the case because obviously he was there the first time, and he asks his daughter to help him, and in a private eye capacity, because there are things that private eyes can do that regular cops can't legally. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought I blasted through it in a few days. It was fantastic. I really like the way Robert B. Parker writes. His dialogue is just cracks along, and he doesn't mess about with lots of flowery language. It's a proper kind of hard-boiled novel, and this is a good one. It's a shame that it's the last in the series. I don't think I've read this before. I've obviously had it quite a long time, because I think it was originally published in 2007, and this is a 2008. So this is a first UK publication in 2008. So it was obviously went straight to paperback in the UK. And yeah, so I probably have had it that long and have never read it. I think when he died, I stopped reading his books. I think his death was kind of like, I was a really big fan of Robert B. Parker, and it did upset me that the estate or the publishers or whoever, then it wasn't like he left a book unfinished and somebody finished it, which I could have kind of, that I would have probably read that. It's like they just keep publishing. So he writes the Spencer series, the Jesse Stone series, who is he's a cop, chief of police, and he writes Sonny Randall, or he wrote Sonny Randall series, and he's also written westerns and other things as well, but the main crime ones, and it's a shame. I don't think he wrote so many books. There wasn't really a kind of a need to keep. My opinion, for what it's worth. So yeah, quite. So I stopped. I didn't read any of the new one. I read one of them. Well, part of it, didn't like it. Wasn't the same. So yeah, but I am also going to try and read some more Robert. I'm going to run out of July. I know I am. I'm not going to achieve all of the things that I keep saying I want to read. But yeah, so that's that. And then I also finished yesterday a Matt Scudder PI novel by Lawrence Block, Time to Murder and Create. So this is the second in the Matt Scudder series. I've again read like bits of it all over the place, so I wanted to go back. I've already read the first one relatively recently, and so I thought I would read the second one because I have it. And Matt Scudder is a former cop turned private investigator, unlicensed, but does take money to do private investigator things. In this one, he is asked by, let's call him a shady character, to hold on to an envelope for him, and only open that envelope if he dies or he disappears. And it's agreed that the shady character will phone Matt every week on a Friday, just to say, basically, I'm still alive. And if he doesn't do that, then Scudder's to open the envelope. Of course, he doesn't ring, and Scudder leaves it for a little while because he thinks, well, maybe he just forgot or wasn't able to, and rather than open it and then he rings the next week kind of thing, he leaves it, but there is no contact. So he tries to find out if anything has happened to him, calls his contacts in the police, finds out that his body has been pulled out of the river, and he's obviously been murdered and thrown in the river. The police aren't too particularly worried about it because it's like, well, it wasn't a nice guy anyway, so we're not going to chase that too hard. And so obviously he then opens the envelope, discovers that Mr. Shady character, who is known as Spinner because he spins a silver dollar, has been basically blackmailing 3 people. And in the envelope is some money to pay Matt to investigate his death, because he thinks the reason he's given him the envelope is because he thinks that one of the 3 people who he is blackmailing will try and kill him. And so there's some money, and then there's all the material for the blackmail, of what he's been blackmailing them with. And so Matt Scudder investigates, and I'll leave it at that because then, so if you do read it, I won't spoil it for you. It's quite short. It's only 170 pages, something like that. So a kind of couple of days worth of reading, and it was really good. It also doesn't have the kind of the full-on happy ending. Matt Scudder is a bit of a troubled character. I mean, the reason he left the police force was because he accidentally shot a child. It wasn't his fault. It's just wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. And so he left the police force, left his wife and 2 children, and basically lives in a hotel and drinks quite heavily. And he's like I say, a troubled character, but yeah, the books are pretty good. So yeah. And then current reading is The Case of the Reincarnated Client by Tarquin Hall, which is a Vish Puri mystery, cozy mystery. And this I am reading for Mark at Book Time with Elvis's book club. And I'm about, I don't know, a couple of chapters in, so I haven't read very much. But I will keep going, and I'll probably talk about that next week. So yeah, that's all the books. I'm quite pleased. It's been a good Private Eye July week 1. Not quite sure what week 2, other than the Vish Puri and the Long Goodbye. We shall see what happens. And then, so I also want to talk quickly about channel updates. I don't want to make this video too long, because I think we're already up to about 20 minutes. So channel updates. I seem to have tripped over 300 subscribers, which kind of just, I find incredible that there are. I can't remember what it was. I think it was 324 when I last looked, and it dips by 1 or 2, now and again. I just find it incredible that there's that many people who subscribe to this channel, and if you're one of them, thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying what's here. My computer has just gone to sleep, so let's just do that. So hopefully that didn't trash the whole recording. So yeah, if you are one of the people that is a subscriber or even a regular viewer or regular commentator, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. I don't know what's the term, having me in your life. That sounds a bit odd, but yeah, I really appreciate you watching and commenting and so on. Speaking of commenting, at the moment for some reason my notifications are not working. So it used to be that if anybody commented, I would get an email to say, hey, so and so's left a comment. That's not happening. I don't know whether I don't think it's anything I've done, because I haven't been messing with the settings or anything. So I don't know whether it's a YouTube glitch, something that YouTube has decided is what we all want, or what the issue is. I'd be interested to know if you also have a channel, whether this has happened to you. Are you no longer getting, I just get no notifications at all now. Whereas before I'd get like so-and-so has, so if I'd commented and the creator had hearted my comment, I'd get an email to say so-and-so's, hearted your comment. I don't get anything now at all. So I don't know, as I say, I don't know whether that's something that YouTube has decided unilaterally to do. I can't find anything anywhere that says they have. Whether it's something that is just a glitch and it'll sort itself out. And then it's not like they're going in my spam or anything. I've checked. I'm just not getting anything. I still get notifications on my phone from YouTube Studio. So I'm still seeing them, but I just don't see them as obviously as I did before. So apologies. I don't think I've missed any. I think I've been going through and checking that I've replied to everything. But if I have missed anything, then do let me know. Reach out. I'll put my Voxer ID in the video description, so you can always contact me on that. And there's an email if you want to email me on my channel homepage, but you have to do that on a computer. It doesn't show up on an app. Don't know why. So yeah, just to say, if I've missed anything, I'm not ignoring you. YouTube is doing stuff behind the scenes that is not helpful. And then sort of plans for the rest of the year, really. So I want to continue with my Poetry Thursday War Poets videos. I've got a few weeks ahead planned out. I haven't recorded them yet. I've got a few weeks ahead planned out, and I'm kind of just about to start looking at a couple of other books that I haven't been through and looked at before, to see if there's anything in there that I can use. I'm not quite sure where it's going. I'm just going to kind of go with the flow at the moment. I want to do there are a few books that I would like to try and read before the end of the year. After Private Eye July is over. And I want to I will do a video about those, because there are a couple of fairly hefty books in there, including A Dickens at Christmas. So I'll either link to it at the end, or I'll put a card up somewhere if you want to know more about that. I did a pre-announcement video a few weeks ago, and you'd be welcome to join that. Probably going to be reading the Pickwick Papers this year. And then there are a few other books I want to talk about that I'd like to try and read before the end of December. And I'm probably going to spend the next couple of months, so it's like August, September, just mood reading, because I've got books that I want to read, and I don't have any particular plans beyond kind of book trek in August and big books of summer and things like that. So I think August, September are relatively clear, apart from Garb August, which I'm not quite sure what I'm going to read for that. So yeah, we shall see. So those are the kind of things I just wanted to mention. And then that's it, I think, for this week. I think I've covered everything in my notes. I actually had notes this week. Better turn the page just to check. Yes, that's everything. So if you have been, thank you very much for watching. As I say, if you're one of the 320, however many, thank you for subscribing. If you're not already subscribed, please feel free. You can always unsubscribe at a later date if you get fed up with the sight of me. As I say, thank you for watching, and I will speak to you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.